Oh, God
clap.
damn you.
Sorry.
Fucker.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. I'm going to clap us in. Are you even in me? That's just the only time I'll ever let someone say that.
I don't gotta catch a plane, no pun intended. How deep in me are you?
How deep are you?
Is it just the tip? Or?
Hi, I'm an American, and I'm here for you.
I mean, I did fuck off.
I mean, you fucked
really
up.
on my training 'cause I stood in a doorway and I shot at people. 2 no-nos, right?
Kaboom, kaboom, kaboom! Like, fuck you. Did you ever, like, lose a couple of brothers or, like, people that you knew? Or was it more of a... Hey, guys and gals. Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Ink. Today, I've got a very special guest. His name is Keith Darnall. We are working on a tremendous triple cover-up, if you will. It's your good side, bad side. Somebody did something.
It's my hot mess.
It's your hot mess. It's been the bane of my existence right now. No, I'm kidding. I like it. It's not a horrible piece, but and we'll get into all that. I'll show you some of what we've been doing. But without further adu, welcome to Beyond the Ink.
So I grew up small town in Oregon.
Oregon, nice.
Little butthole town. My freshman year in high school, I knew I really didn't want to go to college. I had no interest in school.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd ran across my best friend's uncle who was a Marine and just, completely terrified me. So
He scared the shit out of you? Or?
Yeah, he was one of those people that, you try to joke with and kind of just looks at you like,
I'll fucking kill you.
Yeah, punch you in the face and watch you spasm. I don't care if you're 12.
Yeah.
So it kind of intrigued me. So my freshman year in high school, I was like, I'm just going to go in the Marine Corps. I'm not going to take this whole high school thing seriously and college seriously or worry about all this other crap all these kids are worried about as far as the, standardized testing, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Were you a good kid, bad kid?
I used to be a really, really good kid, and then I started hanging out with some good friends of mine who are still currently, I call them family, but they definitely showed me the other side of the world. I started drinking and doing dumb stuff when I was 16, and then if I didn't go in the Marine Corps when I did, I probably would have gone down a darker path. So for instance, one of these guys, I was dating this girl, and I broke up with her to go talk to another girl that night. And so my cousin ended up sleeping with my old girlfriend who I broke up with just for like a 24-hour period, right?
Just for a quick...
Yeah, Yeah, so he calls me, or he actually came over in the morning. He's like, hey, just a heads up, this is what happened between me and this girl last night. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I was kind of like pissed off. I wasn't mad at him, but I was like, you just can't trust anybody, right? So, same day my recruiter called me. This was, June. I wasn't supposed to go to boot camp till August.
Because you were still 17?
Yeah, well, I was 17, but I was just slated for August because that's, the recruiters have
like a quota?
A quota, so they have certain people going in at a certain time to make sure that they're fulfilling their obligations.
Yeah, so they get paid.
Yeah, so he calls me and he's like, hey, this guy dropped out due to, a bad piss test. Are you going to be able to pass a piss test if you go to boot camp today? I was like,
define piss test.
I should be able to. He goes, do you want to go? I was like, yeah, for sure. So that day I left for boot camp. It's literally like a week after graduation.
Mm-hmm.
And, that started the 10-year journey of my life in the Marine Corps.
10 years, dude. That's a long-ass time to be enlisted. What did you come out as?
I came out as an E6, as a staff sergeant.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people think, 10 years, that's only halfway to, the 20-year mark for retirement.
Mm-hmm.
But the interesting statistic is that people don't realize 83% of officers don't even make it to 20 years, and it's more along the lines of like 87% of enlisted personnel don't make it to a full 20-year retirement.
Damn.
So the odds are stacked against us. Actually,
yeah, I was gonna say that's some staggering numbers. I didn't think it was that
Yep.
odd. But then again, you got that makes sense if you're thinking about a ton of that would be top heavy.
Right.
If you had a bunch of officers and whatnot. So well, that's cool. So what did you do? What was your MOS? What did you enlist as?
So I originally went in for the Marine Corps Infantry, and
just straight grunt.
yeah, they're like, you could have any job in the world. Why do you want to go to the infantry? And I was like, I just want to go do something that is going to make me that much tougher. I don't want to sit behind a desk. I don't want to push papers. I don't want to be a mechanic. If I want to do any of that stuff, I want to be going in the military.
Yeah.
I want to shoot guns. I want to blow shit up. I just, I don't want to get in trouble for doing what I wanted to do when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That good old teenage angst.
Yeah. So, got out of boot camp. What was it? June, July, August. Yeah, the end of August. Went to infantry school. September. Got out of infantry school. Went to the fleet in December. Yeah, something like that. But I know I got to the fleet December, and then we were in Kuwait waiting to invade Iraq the next February. So I'd been a real Marine all of 2.5 months before I was overseas.
Before they shipped you out and said,
yeah, before.
Basically, here's a rifle, you're going to go have some fun. You're going to do what you want to do.
Right, with minimal training.
With minimal training, of course, yeah.
So.
Don't get dead.
Yeah. Do better. But the initial invasion of Iraq wasn't. I mean, we had our little battles, and when I say we, I mean the military, right? So.
Now, what year was that?
2003.
Oh wow.
So it was February '03. We ended up in Kuwait. And I believe it was the end of February, beginning of March is when we started pushing. But we were on. You know what Amtrak is?
Yes.
AAVs.
Yes.
We rode those all the way to Baghdad. And
now those carry what? 12, 15 guys? Or is that?
They're supposed to carry like 9 guys.
9? Oh shit.
With gear.
With gear.
We made it fit like 12 to 15 of us.
Oh,
so it was like sardines in a can, basically.
Yeah, and it was hot as shit out
so
there.
you have this big diesel motor at the front of the little cabin space there.
Yeah.
So anybody sitting in there closest to the motor was just, you could look at them, they were dehydrated.
Anybody pass out?
Not that I saw. Like
okay.
I volunteered for air security as much as I could, just because I didn't want to be stuck down in the sardine can, basically.
Oh, so you were like up top, or
no? So the top opens up, and then so we'd stand on the bench where we were sitting, and then we just have our little heads and our rifles popped out of the top, so we get nice airflow. We're not having people squash us. It's a much better life.
Smelling someone's ass as they're just nervously farting down the way.
Right. Well, the worst part about it is we were in what's called MOP gear, so our nuclear, biological, chemical suits over our camis.
Oh damn.
So we did that. I want to say for like the first 2 to 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're wearing full sets of camis in the desert, and then wearing this charcoal-lined suit that allows no airflow in. So you're just sweating and sweating and sweating and sweating.
Jesus.
You're not showering, and you're just sweating.
So you were like super skinny.
Right. Like, are you guys Ethiopian? No, we're just dehydrated.
You're all, nah, just dehydration,
So
it's real.
Yeah, we gotta, really push up through Baghdad with minimal contact.
Mm-hmm.
The initial invasion, it was just kind of, at least for the unit I was with, it wasn't too horrible.
Mm-hmm. So you didn't meet like so much resistance that
right. And
the media tried to say, and I don't want to say media.
There were other units that did, right? Like
okay.
Nasiriyah, there's some big firefights there. Like if you watched Generation Kill on HBO, it kind of highlights some of the.
Did you watch that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What did you think about it?
It was pretty good.
Okay. Heading to the invasion.
So yeah, we pushed up to Baghdad, and then we went down to Babylon.
Babylon.
There's
an actual.
So that's we actually toured the Babylonian ruins and
nice.
Never really got appreciated it. I was just some dumb 18-year-old kid. So
some 18-year-old kid.
Yeah, it was really interesting. So we spent from February to October in Iraq, and we saw a lot of crazy things, but not necessarily combat-wise, right? Like it was very.
Was it like sporadic, like you said, sporadic contact?
Well, so a lot of people don't understand the dynamics, right? So we dropped a lot of leaflets, having these guys surrender, just kind of like we did in the first Gulf War.
Mm-hmm.
And then, there was some resistance, but not a lot. And then we made a lot of mistakes. When I say we, it's the United States government and those people making choices, as far as, disbanding their armed forces, and basically we became what was protecting Iraq.
Oh, so you became almost like the generalized security force.
Right. So the police were kind of all up in, all dispersed, and there's really no security throughout the nation. We destroyed their grid system, there's really no electricity. They had, and again, they don't really have the greatest infrastructure in the world, but at least they had an infrastructure system. But they just really didn't want to fight us. So, a lot of the fighting actually happened after that, after we disbanded the army, and then we started trying to hold general elections, like, we're bringing westernized civilian, so to a country that doesn't necessarily want it, they just don't want to be ruled by a dictating asshole. So really 04, 05, 06, we started seeing the influx of foreign fighters, the extremist Islamic.
So like ISIS, or not ISIS, but what they called it?
Mujahideen, Fedayeen, who, were coming from other countries because they could now fight us in the Middle East. They couldn't really fight us in the United States. They really couldn't touch us.
But
now it's, okay, hey, you're close by. I don't got to catch a plane, no pun intended. And I'm just going to cross a border and try to kill some infidels before they kill me.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to die a martyr and go to heaven and have my,
72 virgins.
Yeah.
Which never understood me. I'm not being like a dick or anything, but why would you want 72 virgins, man? Like, it's just so weird to me. Like, really, virgins? Like, I'd want 72, like, clean prostitutes.
72 strippers.
72, yeah, I'm not going to get any, gonosyphil herpalades. I'm going to get some really good times and have some good music playing.
But yeah. So, but you don't really, when you're 17, 18, 19 years old, you go into these countries and nobody's innocent. You're kind of in this mindset that everybody's the bad guy. Everybody's a Muslim extremist.
Well, didn't they give you like a parameter, like anybody of like a certain age group? They're able-bodied
military age males.
Military age males, yeah.
So there'd be criteria like military age males if they're on a cell phone walking toward you. So obviously, the war rules of engagement were a lot looser than the post, and I'm saying post in quotes, rules of engagement, post-war rules of engagement.
Gotcha. So what they were portraying to everybody else, it was like not so much there, like when you were actually in country.
Right.
Interesting. That's cool.
I mean, we all pretty much live by, rather be tried by 12 than carried by 6.
That makes sense.
So.
Yeah. So like, that was more the time when IEDs were introduced, and like.
That was, the invasion was pre all that. 04, 05, 06 was really all the IED implementation and the snipers, the pop shots, the mortars in the back of trucks where they just go to a position, drop this the tailgate of the truck, drop a couple mortars, and drive off. Honestly, you don't even think about it. And I mean, especially that far out of boot camp, you know, you're still kind of in that mindset of, this guy's my leader. He tells me to do this. I'm doing this.
He says jump. I say how high. I say yes, sir. May I have another?
Right.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Even if you see something that may be a better way, it's like, this is what I'm being told to do. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So you're just young and dumb, just like any 19-year-old in college right now.
Yeah.
They might think they know what the world is and what the world needs to be, but they're just young and dumb. They don't actually know what the world is.
No doubt.
So
you're looking at a higher ranking person thinking, all right, this guy's got life experience. This guy knows more or less what I need to survive.
Right. This guy's going to tell me what I need to do to stay alive. So.
Yeah. Did you trust a lot of them?
Yeah. So that was the issue in the invasion, right? So my senior Marines, the people in charge of me, they got stop lost. So they were actually supposed to get out, you know, within a month or two of the war starting. And so they got stop lost and extended and sent overseas with us because, you know, nobody wants a bunch of brand new idiots out of boot camp running a war, basically.
Yeah.
So they left probably August or September, and then we came home in October. So there's still, you know, we'd been through enough at that point to where we kind of understood what needed to be done on a daily basis. You know, they trained us well, but there's still that gap when they left.
So you were in country how many times? How many tours did you do?
So I did 3 total. I did 2 to Iraq and 1 to Afghanistan.
Okay.
So, you know, February of 03 to October 03, August 04 to May of 05, and then Afghanistan was 2010. So.
What part of Afghanistan?
We were in southern Afghanistan in, why can't I think of the Helmand province. There it is.
Helmand province.
Came to me, see?
Seems a
little time.
You know, some people think like when I'm tattooing and interviewing and doing this, like that I'm not really tattooing, but I am really tattooing. Keith's just that much of a badass. Like this area, which is really sensitive to most, he's just talking through it, like, like no problem. But that, you know, I use unicorn needles.
Oh, I love unicorn needles.
Yeah, they're the mythological pain-free needles.
Just rub some cocaine on it. We'll be good.
Right. I rub the hustle butter on there. This stuff's amazing. People always ask me, hey man, what's on your glove? Just made it this morning. I'm kidding.
It's the wrong hustle butter, man.
Right. Yeah. No, it's you know, some of my buddies. Well, he actually, the creator of Hustle Butter, he's a Marine as well.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, he's a Marine Corps veteran. So, off on another tangent. No. Reeling back in. So you're in country, right?
Which time?
Let's talk about when was your first contact? I mean, I know that sounds kind of like, oh yeah, let's glorify, but like when were you scared shitless? Or were you ever scared to the point of like, okay.
So I mean, there was a couple times in the invasion, right? Like
you knew shit was going down.
Not, I mean, just, so one time, right, when we were in these damn Amtraks, we were buttoned up. That means there's no air security. The hatches on top are closed, right? And tanks had gone through like the night before and just decimated the Iraqi tanks.
Yeah.
So these tanks are still either on fire or just destroyed. Well, we're going through and all of a sudden we start hearing these explosions. Well, these tank rounds are cooking off.
Oh.
And so we're stuck in this fucking sardine can, stopped.
Oh, damn.
And these tank rounds are just going off. I'm like, get me the fuck out of here. Like, I just started having like a mini panic attack. Not because, you know, I was worried about dying. I'd rather die outside on my feet than stuck in a sardine can with 12 to 15 other dudes getting blown up because we're just sitting there like a bunch of jackasses.
Well,
so we end up dismounting, and all you see around you is this fucking desert. And then this little green, like, palm tree oasis area. They're like, oh, we're going to go through there and make sure there's no bad guys in there. So, again, that whole just sitting in the Amtrak thing freaked me out. But then we go into this, like, little tropical area in the middle of the desert. I don't even know how to describe it, man. But, you know, we're walking through, and then I start looking around, and I realize there's all these, like, fighting positions in there. Like, little bunkers.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, if these had been manned, we would be smoked. And that's when I realized I don't ever want to go to, like, any tropical area for war. Send me to the desert all fucking day. All day I'll do the desert.
Kind of makes you...
Vietnam, Korea? No, thank you. I'll pass.
Yeah, dude. Makes you, I mean, at that point, like, question your mortality.
Right.
You know, because you're a kid. You're thinking, I'm fucking invincible, man. Nothing's going to happen. It'll be all right. You know, whatever. But then, like you said, you see something like that and you go, damn, we just walked into a...
What could have been a bloodbath.
A very nice ambush. We would have been screwed.
Another time in the initial invasion, we, on the way to Baghdad, we found a soda factory.
Mm-hmm.
So we definitely raided that shit. Loaded up our Amtrak with cases and cases of soda.
Oh, Iraqi soda?
You know, there was some American products in there.
Nice.
But on our way out, we started taking sniper fire. So our Amtrak breached through like a cinder block wall.
Mm-hmm.
We dismounted, and we were running across. And I swear to God, it seemed like a 10-mile field. It was probably like a couple hundred yards.
Yeah.
But
when you hear...
Yeah. So you're running, and at least this happened to me. Everything's slowed down. Like that, those kind of like
the dreams, those nightmares that you have where you're trying to run. The weird
scenes you see in movie like Saving Private Ryan when he's just sitting there at the end and he's looking around and everything's so slow.
Yeah.
So I'm running through this field and we're taking fire from the top of this building, and I'm just like, this is how I'm gonna die.
Oh shit.
Like running through the field, like just thinking that, and then made it to the other side. Everything was good, but yeah. So you know, there were some things that happened in the invasion. Like I said, it was mostly not horrible, but it kind of starts shaping you. It starts shaping the way you look at things and the way you respond to things in kind of a darker way.
Mm-hmm. So was that the first point where you just, you said, like, start to go down that dark path, I guess?
Well, you start questioning things, right? Like I grew up in this country, and you know, we have all these great things, and I thought my life was so hard as a kid, and here I am, an entitled little fuckbag who really doesn't even understand what the world's about, you know?
Yeah. I'm from Oregon.
Yeah.
And now I'm fighting these dudes in fucking sandals.
I thought I had a understanding of culture because my mom married probably the only black guy in our town, but you know, unbeknownst to me, I got to the most diverse workforce in the world, which is the military.
Yeah. And
realized that I was still an ignorant shithead. But then we go to another country, and then I realized,
really,
even no matter what race you are in this country, you're an ignorant shithead.
So here you are, little Keith Darnall, 18, starting to figure shit out. When did you turn 19? Were you deployed still, or were you?
I turned 18 in boot camp. I turned 19 in the invasion.
Oh shit.
And then I turned 20 right before I went back in 04. And that's when I met my ex-wife.
Mm-hmm.
Was before I went back. Going back thinking like, oh, it's going to be like 2003. Everything's cool. Like, you know, they loved us there.
Yeah.
Said, Bush good, Saddam donkey. Like, they loved us. No, they did not love us anymore. And again, it wasn't necessarily the local populace.
Yeah.
It was the extremists. It, in a sense, was the local populace because of our presence, you know. We could get the local population killed if they were viewed as helping us or talking to us or whatsoever. So it was actually quite different. Engagements almost daily, you know.
So you just constantly were you part of doing like that house to house stuff and just?
Yeah. So I was out in Huseba in 04 to 05, which is right on the Syrian border.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have an entry control point, so we're having to guard the entry control point, check vehicles going across, check vehicles coming back,
Mm-hmm.
making sure they're not bringing shit into Iraq from Syria.
Which they were, but
yeah. And I mean, we got eggs out of that, so we cooked it up with our Spam. We had some good breakfasts.
Spam and eggs.
Spam and eggs.
Fuck yeah.
It's, building blocks of our country.
Right. They'll stick to your gut. That's for damn sure.
But yeah, so the city itself was like a mile by a mile wide,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it was like just a square, and then it was just an interesting place, man. But there are times where we're like, all right, we're looking for X, Y, and Z, so we're gonna cordon off this part of the city, and we're gonna go door to door, kicking in doors for the next 8 hours, starting at like 11 p.m. at night and going till early morning.
Oh shit. No sleep for you.
Felt really bad one time. I mean, I didn't have kids, but you know, I had family who has kids at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're in like cami paint. We decided to just go all out and have, you know, for lack of better words, a little bit of fun with this. And so when we go into somebody's house, I call it kidnapping basically. So we gather up the whole family, put them in a one room, we search the house, and we either stay there for a couple days and we don't make them, but they usually feed us and, you know, treat us as guests. But,
yeah.
I went upstairs and I was in this one room and I saw this little body on the floor under a blanket just sleeping. So I go over, it's this like little 5-year-old girl, and I just gently like shake her awake, and she looks at me and she's like, just bloody murder scream, covers her head with the blanket. I'm like,
shit.
fuck.
You're like,
I just scarred this girl for life. She's gonna need therapy. But she wasn't really getting up, so I just handed my weapon off to one of my fellow Marines and carried her ass downstairs.
Kicking and screaming, or just
you know, I think her dad told her to like calm down or something, but
yeah,
I don't remember exactly. I just remember that look she gave me when I scared the fuck out of her. I was like,
damn,
I'm an asshole.
You're like, hi, I'm an American, and I'm here for you. That's
here. Let me be what you actually think we are, an asshole. So, yeah, it was a lot bloodier. We lost quite a bit of people. Like the only people,
your people?
Yeah, the only Marines we lost in the invasion were due to like negligence, right? Like one of my buddies, he was on top of Saddam's castle in Babylon, and decided that on top of this castle, to get into the post, he was going to go on the ledge to go in from the front of the post instead of just regular entry into the post. And he slipped and he fell all the way down.
Oh shit.
So yeah, he was really our only casualty, and it was again due to dumb shit. But yeah, this in Huseba we had the what we called the H&K sniper. What was he? They actually talked about him in an American Sniper movie.
Oh, he was the Syrian guy from the Olympics?
Yeah.
That crazy? What do you call him?
Just
Mustafa?
running around, just pegging people, just waiting for them to lift up their armpit,
And
so that way he could shoot them through the armpit.
Oh shit.
Because he didn't want to shoot us in our chest because we had our sappy plates, right?
Yeah.
And so we had to deal with that bastard. We had to deal with the implementation of IEDs and really trying to figure out how to work with those for the first time.
Yeah.
And it got crazy, but
was that the first time in the second deployment? Was that the first time you were blown up, or
well, you know, those tank rounds cooking off. So
okay.
Right. So when we say blown up, right, it's just exposure to blasts.
Gotcha.
So a lot of us, you know, have been exposed to numerous blast waves.
Yeah.
Whether they were from enemy or from, you know, our own things.
Correct.
So it's, you know, the first two deployments, 03 to 06, that time frame, even 07, if you weren't missing limbs, if you weren't bleeding, if you didn't have shrapnel in you, you're fine. Just go rest a little bit, wake up, start over.
Have some coffee, maybe a Gatorade, you'll be all right.
So, there are RPGs on that deployment. There were blasts on that deployment from IEDs. And really it's just the blast waves that were really just taking its toll on us over time that we didn't even know about. So, we had a suicide vehicle hit one of our posts, destroyed that post. Just all sorts of things as far as
a plethora of goodie bags.
New engagement techniques we had to figure out how to deal with on that deployment. And we did. We got in a couple really big firefights, killed some people in that city.
You did?
Yeah.
Was that like one of your medals, right? I mean, you got
Yeah, so I got what's called a Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal for heroic valor, which, if you actually understand how awards work, those awards aren't for heroic achievements. You're supposed to actually get a higher award, but the Marine Corps sucks at issuing proper awards, so
you get what you get.
You get what you get. Yeah. Not bitching about it.
It's almost like a, hey, thanks.
Yeah. So we'd kidnapped this family. We were there for probably like 24 hours.
Actual kidnapping.
I was on post up top.
Yeah.
And
we call that Overwatch.
Yeah. And I see these 2 gun trucks go by. And when I say gun trucks, I'm not talking about like little,
Toyotas with the little
fucking RPKs or anything. I'm talking about anti-aircraft,
those
fucking mounted trucks.
Big bastards that you see.
I'm like, I'm definitely not shooting a rocket at those, but I'm gonna, inform my higher up downstairs. Call them up. This is what's going on. Shit's getting crazy right now. They're like, all right, if it comes back by, let us know. We may engage them, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So within 5 minutes, a car stops in that area. We call it the HK Triangle, so the intersection of death, basically, where Huseba becomes, Karbala, or I forgot what damn city that was next to it. And I see these 4 moosh fucks get out of their car. One has an RPG, and that's automatic engagement criteria.
Yeah.
So I did everything fucking wrong. Okay, I just want to throw that out there now.
For anybody, anyone listening, he fucked everything up.
Everything you're told not to do,
you did.
So so to preface, this engagement.
Yes.
And just to give us some context, so I was originally the designated marksman of my team on this deployment. Well, our saw gunner, the squad automatic weapon.
It's a big ass rifle too, right?
Yeah, it's
I mean, they made it.
It's a machine gun, right?
Yeah.
And, so we had. You're getting me off on tangents,
Sorry,
man.
I love the.
So, anyways, so he went home with a hernia or some shit early in deployment. So then, I was walking around with a DM rifle, a shotgun, a saw, and sometimes an ammo pack, and either missing one of those guns and carrying a rocket. So
So you were weighted down.
I was weighted down,
pretty damn good.
So on post, I had the saw.
Yeah.
I had a parasaw, which is collapsible buttstock, shorter barrel. And so I yelled down to below to everybody, RPG, and they said it sounded not manly. So, but, yeah. So mind you, we were putting mosquito netting up in the doorway, so you really couldn't see us, right? You couldn't see us through it. It just looked like a dark doorway.
Now, is mosquito netting code, or do they really
No,
have
it's like
shitty mosquitoes?
Well, they have mosquitoes, but so we just did it that way. You couldn't see me standing in the door looking at the intersection, right?
Okay.
So I pick up my saw, which you're not supposed to open up in ambush with an automatic weapon, because sometimes you might hear click. So you're supposed to either use a rocket or a rifle, right? So I pick up the saw, and I just start laying into these guys through this this mosquito netting. And so literally, I don't let off this trigger. I'm just holding this trigger on the saw through this 200 rounds.
Dumping on these guys.
And by that time, as I'm doing this, the whole squad had came up. and they're waiting for me to stop shooting so they could go out onto the roof. So finally, I like shift over a little bit, and as they're going out onto the roof, I take position on the far left, so I still have an avenue of approach on these motherfuckers, and I'm still just shooting these people. Mm-hmm. This one guy I shot like 5 times. He gets up, he starts running away again. Shoot him a couple times. Gets up, with his weapon, starts running away again. Shoot him some more because he's just trying to reposition himself to engage us. So these guys are like all hopped up on drugs and shit.
Which people don't understand, because they see all these movies where one shot, wow, guy falls, done.
And at this range, we're within 150, 200 yards, so the 5.56 rounds are just blowing through these people's bodies. Yeah. They're not actually doing what they're designed to do, which is hit bone and then bounce around and cause, catastrophic injuries.
Yeah. Because the velocity on those things are just ridiculous.
So, that's what I got one award for.
Now you saved...
Actually, all our friends back on base, they're like, we thought you guys were dead because of how much fire we heard at one time.
So you saved, in essence, how many dudes?
I mean,
how many guys
I don't know if they knew we were there, right? But, there's 13 of us in that
place. Now you're just being modest, yeah.
So, they could have known we were there, and they were trying to open up a position because they knew American forces were in that area, but that intersection's notorious for IEDs and ambushes.
So that was cool. I mean, so you got an award for that.
Yeah.
Medal of Valor, or if you will.
Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal.
Like a gold star.
A V for Combat Distinguishment.
Sexy.
Yeah. And I was just doing my job. I mean, it's not like,
Yeah.
I don't know. But again, you ask anybody who gets any sort of award, it's like, yeah, I just did my job.
Yeah.
I did what I was trained to do.
You relied on your training. You didn't fuck off. You didn't,
I mean, I did fuck off.
I mean, you fucked off.
On my training, I stood in a doorway and I shot at people. 2 no-nos, right?
So after that, the first initial blow up situation, I guess you could say, getting blown up and getting more of that was the tank rounds, right?
Yeah. Just the concussive blast of that.
Yeah, because that alone can, like you said, give you a nice little concussion. That'll fuck you up.
And nobody even thinks about that.
Well, because they're too busy thinking about and glorifying the IEDs that are just and unfortunate, and I'm not trying to put it lightly or whatever, that are blowing everyone up and just maiming the shit out of people and doing all that, They don't think to say, oh, well, these big ass armor piercing tank rounds and that are just big bombs are causing the same kind of effect.
Right.
So yeah.
And then on that deployment, so we had some Force Recon guys with us in our compound.
Now those are the Special Forces guys, right? Those are Force Recon. Is that?
They're not actually. There are type of SF, but they're not. I don't believe they are part of the SF community.
Oh, okay.
Per se.
Okay.
I could be wrong. But they were out and they got fucked up pretty bad. So we called in a bird to come medevac them out. So we send 2 vehicles out and we're driving through the worst part of the city, just waiting to get ambushed ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so we call this bird in a medevac. And then we get him out, bird lifts off, we start driving down what's called Trash Road at that time. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's a crush plate or if we just fucking missed it, but the Humvee behind us just
lifted,
fucking destroyed. The front end, just, it's like they hit a wall, bro. The back end lifted up. Tire was flying in the air. The guy driving our Humvee stopped. We told him to keep going or else that tire would have fucking hit us. And, we don't have armor at this time. We have...
Yeah, you guys just have that basic...
We're just basic bitch Humvees.
Yeah.
And, so we pull up, we set up security, go back to check on the people on Humvee.
Yeah.
People are missing their legs. It's a fucking bloodbath. So we had to call the bird back to medevac these people out.
Yeah.
Then we had to tow this bitch back to the fucking base, and it's just, it was one thing after another, man. Just constant engagement.
That's nuts. So I know it's a sensitive subject, and it's probably going to be just a question. I mean, for my ignorant ass and for my viewers, but when you guys build up that brotherhood, right? You guys have the quintessential, like, you have to be able to give your life for the dude next to you and everything. Did you ever like lose a couple of brothers or like people that you knew, or was it more of a
so right, like, nobody's there to actually, in my opinion, some people might be, nobody's there to actually bring freedom to Iraq or Afghanistan. We're there because we're told to go there. We're there because we've created this bond. We're there to try to bring everybody home, right? So outside of my platoon, I had friends in other platoons who had actually either got medevaced out or made the ultimate sacrifice. And one of these guys, I remember sitting at home before we deployed, and he's talking to his wife, and they just had a new baby, and he's talking about how he can't wait to come home and spend time with them, and when you don't have a family of your own and you're just kind of a bachelor and no kids, nothing, no real girlfriend, this shit happens. You're like, why did it have to happen to this motherfucker? Like, he had a family to go home to. I don't have shit to go home to. Let me switch places with this guy.
So it's that.
And so you start building this survivor skill. They say you'll never find God quicker than when you're on a battlefield.
Yeah. Or no atheists in a foxhole, or what do they call it?
Maybe I'm the exception, but I actually lost religion on the battlefield.
Interesting.
I remember sitting there on post one night, and I actually thought I was fucking going crazy. But I was having an argument with myself about God being real, and how, if he's a forgiving God and a just God, how can he allow the shit to go on?
Yeah.
And, that's kind of when I really started going down the path of man-made religion's fucking a scam just to control masses. And I do believe in something higher. There's got to be something higher, right?
Yeah.
But do I believe that whatever that power is interacts with us? No. I'm more of a,
prove it,
for lack of a better words, a deist, right? Where it's like somebody just created us and he just let it be. Here you go.
Like
whatever happens, happens. You
like
guys fuck it up, you fuck it up.
Like a social science project, or just some kind of a...
Like we're some kid's ant farm, basically.
How you feeling? Good?
Fine.
Nice.
Are you even doing anything?
Total badass, man. Are you even in me? That's just the only time I'll ever let someone say that.
How deep in me are you?
How deep are you?
Is it just the tip? Or?
I don't feel you, Matt. I'm like, what the fuck?
Your poor wife.
No, my poor wife is just, she's like, I don't feel you either. No, I'm kidding.
Somehow made some babies.
Right, yeah, hey. Doesn't have to reach the back, just has to reach the tubes. No. So after that medal, right? After you get that medal, you're in country, you save 12 people, 13 people, right? I say you save it. You made tomato, whatever you want to say. That's pretty fucking badass. You opened up on a position, and I don't want to say you were outgunned, but dude, if they would have turned around and said, kaboom, 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 like, fuck you, right. You're dead. Like, we wouldn't be tattooing your back right now, So, yeah, I mean, a lot of respect in that aspect. I've never known that story. I never heard that whole story. I mean, we've talked about a lot of things. So, badass. I mean, that's awesome, But I remember when I was tattooing your wife, she was telling me she found this box, of all your medals and all your accolades, if you will, or, things that you did in your 10 years of service.
My Call of Duty box.
Your Call of Duty box. And she was sitting there going, like, telling me, my husband's a fucking badass. And I'm just going like, well, yeah, he's a pretty bad dude. She goes, no, like, he's got medals and he's got letters from, higher ranking officials and saying, hey, Keith, thanks for doing that, and I was like, that's pretty fucking cool, but then you told her, throw that shit back in the box.
It's not a big deal. Just put it away.
Yeah, I don't like to hear about that, you know. But so does that bother you when you bring up, or when people bring stuff up like that, like when people ask you about the metals and they ask you like, hey, how'd you get that, you know, or ignorant like me.
There's, in my opinion, again, all this is my opinion. There's two types of people, right?
Yeah.
Those who are willing to talk about it, that are pretty asshole-ish in everyday life.
Yeah.
And those who aren't willing to talk about it and might be nice and personable, but they still avoid everybody, but they still deal with it at night, right? Like, you're gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Why are you gonna not talk about it? Because you don't want to look weak to somebody? Like, I'm sorry, Matt, but if I was talking to you about something and something fucked me up and you started calling me a pussy because of whatever emotional reaction I have,
yeah,
I'd have to punch in your throat.
Oh, absolutely.
So
yeah, without a doubt.
You know, again, we have that survivor's guilt, and it's so fresh for some people when they talk about it, because they don't talk about it. They don't address it.
Yeah.
And, you know, really, in my opinion, the only way to really get through that is to talk about it and to actually do self-analysis and be like, is there literally anything I could have done?
Yeah.
I mean, if I did do something, could something worse have happened?
Yeah.
So,
would you still be here? I mean, again, and a lot of guys are, I'll make that ultimate sacrifice. I will do that. I will.
Right. Like, one of my best friends, William Hampton, he's here because Jason Dunham, the first Marine to get the Medal of Honor since Vietnam, jumped on a fucking grenade for him. Mm-hmm. My buddy has 5 kids now. Mm-hmm. So, you know, had he not done that, my buddy wouldn't have his kids. I wouldn't know my friend, you know? So,
yeah,
you know, is there survivor's guilt there? I don't know. You know, he hasn't really talked to me about it, but I know he's fucking grateful every day to Jason and to his mom. I know he became pretty close with his mom because he did that, and he allowed my friend to go forward and have this life.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of like the driving force behind everything I do, right? Like, those people who can't do this shit.
It's just to honor them.
Yeah, we discredit them by sitting around and feeling sorry for ourselves and getting fucking fat and getting disgusting and feeling like victims and doing dumb shit. Like, go live your fucking lives, man. Go.
Like, you're here.
Yeah, go
because of them.
Go achieve greatness. Whether somebody else defines it as greatness or not, that's not your concern, right? Like, if your greatness for the day is leaving the fucking house and interacting with 10 new people, awesome.
Yeah.
You can't just, you know, tackle the mountain and conquer it in one day. You have to do it a little bit at a time. So, you know, that really, I knew I didn't really want to go down that road. And, you know, we all have kind of like this little, I like to call it a 5-year period of darkness where you just go fucking nuts. But while I was going nuts, I was, you know, going through school and trying to better myself. I was actually, you know, I'm still in therapy today. I started therapy in 2010.
Yeah.
And shit just doesn't go away. It's not a fucking instant process.
In essence, you're honoring the dead. You know, you're
living because they can't.
Because they can't.
I mean, if they sacrifice themselves for you, or, you know, something happened where you lived and they didn't, mm-hmm. by whatever caused that, just happenstance or whatnot.
Yeah.
Like, you owe it to them to live your life to the fullest. If you're gonna essentially be dead in your life, then yeah, that thought process of why him, not me, is actually valid, because that you're doing a disservice, right? Like, that person may have lived their life and done all these great things.
True. I mean, you don't know what they could have been.
Right.
They could have been a doctor, a lawyer, cured cancer, you know, something. But now you've got somebody who's, I don't want to say taking it for granted and just being like...
Well, it's not taking it for granted. It's just... not dealing with their shit, and I don't want to call them a victim.
Yeah.
But it's that same like mentality of being a victim, right? Like you're frozen, you're paralyzed in fear, right? Like you have fight or flight, you still have the ability to fight and do something, but you just don't. And I don't know if you remember that Facebook fucking blurb I wrote, right? Like it's a constant battle. Like I'd get up when I first got out, and I'd be like, oh, you know, laying in bed thinking about all these great things I'm going to do today. Today's going to be the day I'm going to get out of bed and go forward with my life and get out of this fucking funk.
Yeah.
And then I'd get in the shower, and then I'd start thinking about shit, and I'd watch the water spiral down the drain, and then it was a perfect analogy for what I was doing, because I was just spiraling out of control to where I'd just dry off, go crawl back in bed, because I'd depress myself and upset myself so much with a negative attitude that I wasn't going to do anything, right? Mm-hmm. What's the point? Somebody's going to piss me off. Somebody's going to make me angry. What's the point of going out? Fucking world's a piece of shit, right? So it took me challenging that viewpoint and meeting people who actually challenged that viewpoint to realize that I was just being a dipshit.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you know how you said, if I want to, or if somebody makes a comment, you based off of your emotional reaction, you know, like you start talking about some sensitive material, you know, start sensitive subjects, right?
Right.
And you have a genuine emotional reaction to it, be it if you were crying, if you were doing something, and then somebody says, hey man, why are you being a pussy, you know, blah, 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 and you, like you said, you would have to sock them in the face, you know,
right.
Tune them up a little bit. You know, it's one of those things that you live with, like you said, daily basis, where you're gonna get that from just ignorance. You know, you're gonna get that from people that are just so fucking insecure with themselves and just have to talk shit about everybody and everything.
Right.
You know, and they don't understand it. You know, they don't get it. So
well, they have their own shit that they're probably dealing with.
Exactly.
But you know, they don't want to address it because they probably.
Because then they'd open themselves up. Yeah, it would open themselves up to their, you know, their own scrutiny, and then they'd have to shine the light on themselves, which they're definitely not going to fucking do. But you know, for instance, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, none of that shit. I have my reasons, you know, a lot of reasons, and I've been told plenty of fucking times, well, why don't you drink? What, do you become violent? Do you become, you know, what are you, a pussy? You know, blah, 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 blah. You know, you just don't want to fucking do this, do that. And it used to get to the point, and I'd be completely honest, man, it would get to the point where, you know, somebody's like, oh, what, are you a pussy? And I'm like, dude, let's go out here, and we can find out how much of a pussy I really am. Kick my ass, I'll shake your hand. I'm probably going to beat the shit out of you. And that was my anger. That was my, you know, so I'm curious, like, do you feel that same way?
Yeah, so, you know, I don't drink anymore.
Yeah.
Just because, you know, and you see it with a lot of veterans who drink, they think it helps them tackle their demons, and really it just makes them numb to the damage that they're doing to everybody around them, right? Mm-hmm. But as far as like, you know, someone calling you a pussy because of whatever, because you're doing this or doing that, it's not to the point of, well, let me show you how much of a pussy I am.
Yeah.
It's more of I'm speaking about somebody who paid the ultimate sacrifice, and, you know, or something like that, and you're just totally disrespecting them.
Yeah.
It's less to do with me personally than it has to do with the content, right? And
or their memory.
Right.
Like, yeah.
So, I mean, I could care less. I get people try to fight me on the freeway all the time, and I just fucking laugh at them.
That's because they're staring at your ass.
Like,
no homo.
Get out of your truck, come up to mine, pose a threat, and I may just shoot you.
Let me just thump you.
Just depends on how I feel that day.
Yeah.
especially if I have my kid in the car, man.
That's the thing. You gotta, once you have family or people are doing stupid shit and it's your, you know, like you said, now you can understand it. But when you're back 19 years old, no family, no kids, no dependents, basically. Right. You didn't have anyone who's like
reliant upon you.
Exactly. So now you've got something, you know, you got a wife, you got a kid, you know.
Yeah, and I mean,
someone tries to take that away from you. The fucking beast comes out and says, "Listen, motherfucker, you know, like, if it's gonna be you or me going home, it's gonna be me going home. You're not going home, dude. Your ass is fucked."
Yep.
So.
But that's like, so when I got home from my second deployment, you know, I was really kind of emotionally numb.
Yeah.
Really didn't know which way was up. Ignored all these signs. Why I shouldn't marry this chick who I barely fucking knew.
That was your first wife?
Yeah.
And how old are you? How old were you when?
What was that? Shoot, man. I'm trying to think. I just turned 19.
Kind of hard. I'm jamming you up in the back with this fucking needle.
Because it was 05 when I got home, so I wasn't even 21 yet.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And then my stupid ass had my dad give her my car so she could drive down to see me as soon as I got home. My dumb ass went out and bought her a ring and proposed, and she said yes, and
because you were in love.
You know, well, yeah.
No,
I was definitely in love with the thought of, hey, I'm going to go to war again and going to die, so I need to at least leave, you know, the little spawn of me running around fucking this place up while I'm gone.
Right.
So that's really why I got married and ignored all the signs, like all the signs.
Yeah.
There could have been a blinking sign that said, this bitch is a whore, don't be here.
Blinking sign would have like, whore. You're like, so, yeah, all right.
You know, and then I switched, I didn't switch jobs, but I took what's called a type of B billet and didn't deploy. I wasn't with the combat unit. I was just doing a bunch of dumb shit that when you're kind of not training at the same pace and you're not deploying and not doing the same shit, you realize how kind of fucked up you are. So, you know, that's when I started getting into gaming and secluding myself and not really dealing with my trauma. I knew something was fucked up with me. I just didn't want to address it. And you started getting headaches from all those fucking blast waves and shit that I was exposed to.
Yeah.
And, you know, that didn't contribute well to a marriage anyways. I mean, again, out of 2 years, she probably lived with me for 2 weeks.
Oh, shit.
But it is what it is, you know?
I'd like to say thank you for everything and showing, you know, with everyone here. If you're still watching, thank you for sitting along. If you learned anything, give us a like, a thumbs up, share it, subscribe. And again, thanks for being with us. I'm sure there'll be another episode with Keith on here because we've got a long ways to go. But yeah, if you're still this far, thanks for taking that trip beyond the ink. I'm Matt Valdez. I will see you next time. Peace.